Welcome to How to Master Emotional Intelligence and Empathy, Overcome Limiting Beliefs with EQ. If you've ever felt stuck in procrastination, weighed down by limiting beliefs, or trapped in a scarcity mindset that whispers, "You're not enough," this audiobook is for you. We'll walk through practical, step-by-step strategies you can start using today to transform the way you handle emotions, yours and others. And don't worry, this won't be another stiff lecture. Think of this as us sitting across from each other in your favorite cozy cafe, latte in hand, talking about the real stuff, feelings, struggles, and the small but powerful tools that can help you break free. So let's dive into the world of emotional intelligence and empathy. And trust me, this is not just a soft skill. This is your secret weapon in life's toughest moments. Self-awareness, the mirror check-in. Here's a fun but eye-opening truth. You can't master emotional intelligence if you don't know what you're feeling in the first place. Sounds obvious, right? Yet most of us speed through the day like we're late for a meeting we didn't want to attend in the first place, totally disconnected from our inner state. Here's where we start, with a simple tool I like to call the mirror check-in. I want you to imagine standing in front of a mirror. Yep, literally. Maybe in your bathroom, maybe that little mirror you've got in your bag, maybe even the reflection from your laptop screen. Take a look at yourself and say out loud, "What am I feeling right now?" Don't overthink it. Just name it. Tired, frustrated, hopeful, anxious, curious, whatever comes to mind. Then give it a number from 1 to 10. Are you mildly annoyed, like a 2 out of 10, or fuming mad, like a 10 out of 10? Now, here's where it gets fun. Describe your emotion like you're describing the weather. Maybe your sadness feels like a gray drizzle. Maybe your excitement feels like a burst of sunshine. Maybe your procrastination feels like fog rolling in on a Monday morning. Why does this matter? Because naming emotions is the first step in mastering them. Neuroscience shows that when we label a feeling, we instantly reduce its intensity. You're telling your brain, "I see you. You're not driving the car anymore." Remember, how to master emotional intelligence starts with self-awareness. Without it, you're flying blind. With it, you've got radar, headlights, and GPS all turned on. Empathy training, the 90-second pause. Let's talk empathy, because emotional intelligence isn't just about knowing yourself, it's about tuning in to others too. We've all been there. Someone snaps at you in traffic, your partner forgets something important, your kid throws a tantrum that could rival a Broadway performance. Your first instinct? Snap back. Here's where empathy training comes in, with something I call the 90-second pause. The next time someone's emotions flare up around you, instead of reacting instantly, take 90 seconds, literally. Count slowly, breathe deeply, maybe sip some water. And in that pause, ask yourself, what might they be feeling right now? Not what's wrong with them, not why are they attacking me, but what's going on inside them. Maybe your coworker snapped because they're overwhelmed with deadlines. Maybe your spouse forgot the milk because their brain is juggling 50 other things. Maybe your kid's meltdown is really just hunger and fatigue in disguise. And let's be clear, empathy doesn't mean you agree, excuse, or let people walk all over you. It means you pause long enough to consider their inner world before reacting. Think of empathy like Wi-Fi. If you're not connected, communication is glitchy, full of dropped signals and misfires. But once you connect, boom, messages flow smoothly. So the next time your emotional Wi-Fi feels weak, hit pause. 90 seconds. It's that simple. That's how empathy training becomes part of your EQ toolbox. Scarcity mindset reset. The gratitude flip. Now, let's talk about something sneaky, the scarcity mindset. You know that little voice that whispers, "You don't have enough. You're not enough. You'll never catch up." Yeah, that one. Scarcity mindset is like a shrinking box. You can barely move, barely breathe, because everything feels limited. Here's how to fight back with a tool I call the gratitude flip. Every time you hear that scarcity whisper, stop and flip it. Write down 3 things you do have, 3 things you can be grateful for. They don't have to be life-changing. Maybe it's the cup of coffee in your hand, the friend who texted you yesterday, or the fact that you've got Wi-Fi to listen to this right now. Now, visualize those 3 things expanding, like balloons filling the room. Notice how your chest feels lighter. Notice how your perspective shifts. Scarcity says, there's not enough. Gratitude says, look at what's already here. That shift, that flip is emotional intelligence at work. It takes empathy with yourself to stop, recognize the pattern, and give yourself something better. As I like to say, when scarcity whispers, empathy answers, and EQ gives you the courage to rewrite this story. Beating procrastination with EQ. Now let's face an old enemy, procrastination. We've all done it. You sit down to work, suddenly decide the fridge needs reorganizing, and before you know it, you're watching videos of penguins chasing butterflies. But here's the truth. Procrastination isn't laziness. It's fear. That task you're avoiding, it feels threatening in some way. Maybe you fear failure. Maybe you fear judgment. Maybe you secretly believe you're not good enough to finish it. Here's how to fight procrastination with EQ. Name the fear behind the task. Ask yourself, what's the story I'm telling myself about this task? Write it down. You might discover you're not avoiding the task, you're avoiding the feelings attached to it. Now, shrink it down. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Just 5. Tell yourself, I'm only going to do this for 5 minutes. More often than not, once you start, momentum carries you forward. Think of procrastination like a cat curled up on your to-do list. If you try to shove it off, it digs its claws in deeper. But if you gently coax it, offer some play, a little attention, it gets up on its own. That's EQ in action. Empathy for your own fears instead of beating yourself up. Conclusion. So let's bring it all together. In this audiobook, How to Master Emotional Intelligence and Empathy, Overcome Limiting Beliefs with EQ, you've learned 4 practical how-to strategies. The mirror check-in for self-awareness, the 90-second pause for empathy training, the gratitude flip for overcoming scarcity mindset, and the naming the fear to fight procrastination. These are not just theories. These are tools you can use every single day to shift how you feel, respond, and grow. Remember this, emotional intelligence isn't just a soft skill, it's your superpower. So tomorrow morning, when you feel that whisper of scarcity or notice procrastination prowling around, pause, breathe, try one of these tools. You'll be surprised how quickly your inner world changes. And the best part? When your inner world changes, your outer world starts to shift too. If you found this audiobook helpful, replay it whenever you need a reminder. Share it with a friend who's stuck in their own limiting beliefs. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment with your biggest emotional breakthrough. You never know who your words might inspire. Because at the end of the day, empathy isn't just about others. It starts with you. So here's my final wish for you. Start seeing your feelings not as obstacles, but as allies. With empathy, every limiting belief becomes optional.